I think we are live now. I am pretty sure. Yo, what's up, dudes? Or maybe it's not. Now it says it's live. I haven't done a Google Hangout in like forever because
Yep, I got it.
Yeah, you got it? Is it showing up on there? Yeah, okay.
I do. I see everyone on here. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Hello. No guitar because I'm doing a Google Hangout, so it sounds like it's underwater. So this is a talkie.
There you go. And everyone knows we love to talk.
Yeah.
So hello, everybody.
Yeah, we got a bunch of people here already. Gary, a regular. Blimpus, a regular guy. You know, I'm seeing a few regulars.
Right.
We're back down at this shot. People are like, it's too high, but if it's not, then you only see headstocks on guitars. I put it up there so I could show the whole carving. People were like, I don't like this angle. Now we're back to this one again. All right. Well, we got Germany and Showman and Sammy. A lot of the regulars are here. You know, that's always good. Kurt, another regular. Dan, Doug, Sean, Sal. Of course, Terry, our MVP. I'm going to declare him MVP. He does such good work. So we're gonna get into NAMM pretty quickly, and we should probably start with TK. Did you get sick? I escaped okay. I'm unscathed. I can't.
You know what? I brought literally about 3 of these things with me. These are like the germ things.
Yeah.
And after I shook hands and hugged and all that, as soon as I cut the corner, I did one of those.
Right.
Just because you don't know. It's, you know, they're saying the flu is out there. And, you know, I got kids like you have kids, and you just try to clean up, make sure you come home squeaky clean. And that's exactly what I did. Thank God, no problems.
Yeah. I mean, 2 years ago, I was slammed hard. I mean, yeah. I was knocked out for like 2 weeks. Last year, I only had like a head cold, and I was just, if anything, just super hungry. I remember eating, just chowing like crazy. I was like always famished when I got back. It's just a straight up cold. And then this year, nothing. Like I seem to have escaped unscathed, which is rare considering it's about 100,000 people a day there.
Yes. And I don't know what's going on with the flu this year, but you know, they're saying it's pretty serious. So I think a lot of people probably took precaution, you know. Right. I saw at some of the NAMM counters, you know, like the little reception counters when you're looking for someone, they all had those giant pump bottles of sanitizer, you know.
Yeah, they're getting into it. They realize Costco has that when you walk in, right where you get the carts, they have hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
They know, you know, that's how germs go around. So, no, it was. It's always a good thing to come back from NAMM after all that walking around where you're run down, you're not eating as much, you know, you're shaking hands with, you know, dozens of people an hour.
Yes.
And, you know, at the end of that, you know, 3 days or 4 days or however long you're there, and then you're back in an encapsulated tube for 6 hours.
The people sitting next to me on the plane actually had surgical masks on.
Really? Yeah, I saw that at NAMM a little bit. A few people will wear the masks.
Yeah.
Just, you know, make sure. But you never know. You know, they could have an illness that if they get sick, it could be deadly.
Well, I asked them.
They were like, no.
I said, hey, would you mind if I asked why? They said, we just don't want to get sick. I'm like, okay, cool. It's like, should I change my seat? You know, that's what I was really asking.
Well, the problem is that, you know, viruses, especially an airborne virus, is a lot smaller than the mesh in that mask. It's so small it can just fit on a cell, and then re-scramble the DNA and then replicate itself. It's a parasite inside the cell, and then cell fills up with the virus until that explodes, And then all those little nanobots go around to your other cells, and the whole process starts over again. You're
Dude,
like, I think I'm getting sick. And then
that's like your infrared heat conversation.
yeah, right.
This guy knows more about everything than anyone else I know.
So funny. So we should what's Adams here and Showman and Cheddar Kung Pao, all the regulars, all the awesome dudes, you know, R2, R3. Seen a lot of
I saw Chad Boston here.
Chad Boston. He was at
Phil Smith. What's up, man?
Nice.
And I actually was watching a video last night of Chad Boston's Line 6 dinner thing. They had like a reception, which was really nice. Nice job, Chad. Really nice job, man.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll start off with the NAMM conversation as the audience can put their questions together. I don't want this just to be between me and Tone King, so throw questions up. But the first question is, what's the worst part of NAMM?
Yeah, I could answer that.
We all have an opinion on it.
Well, you know, this year what they did was they reorganized everything. Okay, so like Hall D was the place for guitar stuff. Okay, right. However, where last year it was all very intermingled. So no matter where you were, if you were in D, B, C, A, wherever, there was guitar in reach, some way, shape, or form. But now that they put everything in D, there were some companies that were not in D. Like Hughes and Kettner was in the other wing.
Yeah, but I know, but you know what? I understand why they were there. We talked about it with them a little bit. Because why are you all the way up? I mean, literally on the. I think if they were on the complete opposite end,
right?
Because if
they were
complete opposite end. So Hall D is down one end. Let's call it the north side. You had to go all the way to the south side, up, outside, down the catwalk, new room, and then all the way to the south side of that room to get to their booth. And I walked by their booth like 3 times before I was like, oh my God, they're in this door.
I think what companies need to think about. So here's my open letter to companies that exhibit at NAMM. Maybe get 2 smaller booths, right? I also understand why they were where they were. Like this is our portfolio to the buyers, but they probably missed some amount of like walk-through traffic just from not being in D. So I'd like to see maybe smaller booth, but having separate areas at the NAMM show.
They won't be in that same spot next year.
Right.
When I was talking to them, they pretty much had figured out we shouldn't be up here, even though we're in a pro audio section and I'd say 80% of that booth was pro audio and like 20% was Hughes and Kettner, right? Because they have a big pro audio line.
Right, of course.
Right. So, I get it. I get why they were up there.
Yes, same here.
And it was a great booth. It was nice and dark, and it showed off their product really well.
It was awesome.
You could crank it up because you were inside a separate room. You didn't have to deal with the sound police as much. Yep. I mean, there were benefits to being in the space they were. It was
absolutely.
There were benefits to being there, but I think you're right. They really missed that foot traffic. That if you weren't looking for Hughes and Kettner,
you didn't see him there.
Stumble upon them like you did so many other products.
Hosa was another company. So I was talking to Dylan over at Hosa, and he mentioned same thing. They have a large guitar line of patch cables, guitar cables, especially with their premium line. We were saying that it would be cool to have a small, like you don't have to double the duplicate booths. Maybe just have a smaller 4-foot section to show Hoser in the guitar area. I think companies need to think that through. If they're going to truly isolate and keep guitars in Hall D, companies need to leverage that and maybe get a smaller area, because there was a lot of room in Hall D. I think there was quite a bit of room down like at the back wall area. They could probably squeeze a few companies over there, I think.
And downstairs, there was definitely open space. I'd say downstairs was only about 80% full.
Yeah.
About 20% empty, which is, last year there was no empty space.
Like Engel was downstairs this year.
Yeah, that's weird. It could just be a money thing. Maybe downstairs is cheaper. So they'll say, hey, why not just get a bigger booth? You know, and get it for less money. Maybe that was the feeling.
I walked downstairs, which interestingly enough, this year I saw very little I was interested in downstairs. But Engel was down there. I'm like, I even asked, I said, guys, why are you down there? And they were like, this was all that was available, which I thought was kind of odd because.
Well, maybe they booked late. You know, a lot of people, they were like, I don't know what to do because they did the reorg. And
right.
So my friend Mark, who has his booth there, right, they were around the corner. And
he had a great spot, by the way.
Didn't he? What a good spot. He even said, he goes, this was like the best thing we ever did.
You got the vertical, the horizontal traffic. He had it coming in every direction.
What's a bigger lane than that lane? That is the main lane. There's no wider lane in all of NAMM than that strip, right?
That's right.
In terms of like foot traffic, nothing bigger than that. So yes. I thought he nailed it, but they wanted to put him in the new hall. He had a fight to stay in that hall.
Why would they want to put him in the new hall? He's selling guitar accessories.
For some reason, they thought he might be sort of like accessories and like where Hoser was in the hall, the new hall, right? And like it's almost like you know, you're sort of like a sidecar, right? You're sort of related to guitars, but you're not guitars. But he convinced them that they were guitar-related accessories, and you know, if Hal Leonard was going to be there, and you know all these other related companies, then he should be there, and they let him stay. But technically, he was sort of in the drum area. It was a bit of a crossover. If you look diagonally from where he was, it was like directly across from him was Sonar, and then Sabian was down there, and Ludwig was right there. So he was like, I think one side of that aisle was sort of accessories. Chad paused and noise violations, for instance. That's so funny. Okay, noise. The cell phone zombies were not watching as they were going. It was crazy. The Framus booth was crazy. Nice video, guys. One thing I want to talk about the noise violations. I'm sure you must have seen the pic I took and threw up of the booth getting shut down for noise violations. A lot of people were like, "What booth? What booth?" And I looked it up, and it was Ed Chetakung Pao. Thanks, buddy. That's awesome, man. I'll answer that in 1 second. But the booth that was shut down was an amp company. Right, no surprise there.
Right,
they were probably cranking their amp up and just could not stop cranking that amp. And the next thing you know, they were shut down.
I'm surprised about that actually, because a lot of the booths I feel like were louder this year than ever before.
I thought that corner, right? And remember, most of the rooms are rectangular, but Hall D is not. It's sort of like a, I don't know, a rhombus. Right? And so it's like
a rhombus.
Right? It's like four sides, right? But like the back side is not the right angle, right? And it actually goes down to a bit of a corner, right?
Right.
So when it does that, it felt like a speaker coming out from there, and all the stuff that was in that corner was so friggin' loud. I was like, this is unbelievable how loud, you know, this corner is. You'd get down in that corner, it would just be such a jumble of just nonstop. And there was a bass booth down there. They were just relentless with those basses going like nonstop, you know? Yeah. I don't want to be hitting my mic here. So Chetakung Pao was asking about the Ibanez AZ series.
Yeah.
I played them there. I thought they were great. I really thought it was like a great move on Ibanez, who I think are sometimes unfortunately pigeonholed as a bit of a metal guitar company. And I think it was a smart move by them to break into a more like mainstream guitar look other than the extreme curves. It's not like they got rid of those old guitars, right? It's just that they, you know, I can hear this zip in here. Hold on. Yeah, here we go. It's just that, you know, they wanted to move into a more mainstream instrument. And it's like two, right? Or a half dozen new models. The two signature models, the Martin Miller and the Tom Quayle. And then a couple of just, you know, AZ models. But I really liked them. I like the roasted neck. Like Phil McKnight was saying, it stabilizes the neck. You don't really get the shrinking and the expansion that you get on a regular neck because all the moisture's been baked out of it.
Right.
You know?
I like them too. Some of the feedback that I heard on them, and tell me if you agree and open up to the comments. Some folks said it looked like a Soar guitar.
Yeah, but any guitar that's like a high-end Strat style Super Strat, people are going to say look like a Sir. And pretty much any guitar with a baked maple neck, people are going to say look like a Sir.
Why is that a big thing?
That headstock is an Ibanez proprietary headstock.
Right.
Didn't look like the beak. I mean, the Sir headstock is the Kramer headstock. I mean, check them on here. Right, it's the beak.
Yeah.
So I mean, the headstock's different. The body shape is different. Manufacturer's different.
Maybe they were were referring to the quality.
Yeah, maybe, you know, I guess if if you build a high-end sort of Super Strat, I could see the comparison. And also, Strats have a rounded bottom, and Ibanez has always had a flat bottom, and so is Sir at the neck, right? So right after the 22nd fret, the 24th fret, or whatever your last fret is, you know, with Fender, obviously, it's the 22nd or 21st. It's rounded, right? It's not a flat cutoff. Ibanez has always been a flat cutoff, you know, pretty much since 1987. But when you see that on a Strat, for whatever reason, people associate that with Sir because that's how Sir has always been. You put a dark neck on a guitar, you make a high-end Super Strat with a flat bottom on the neck, and yeah, the comparisons to Sir are gonna be there. But you know, it's so funny because Sir came out with a single cut this year, right? They actually moved away from the Super Strat with their new model. So that's where Sir's head is at right now.
I like Sir guitars. I think they're really nice, but damn, are they expensive?
I didn't realize just how expensive they were.
Yeah, like entry level, you're looking at $2,200.
Right. Yeah,
a lot of dough.
Yeah. And what were the AZ series? Do you remember? I don't remember. I think they're 25 list.
They were over $2,000.
Yeah. But again, is Ibanez doing MAP or are they stuck in the old MSRP? If it's MAP, well, that's a whole different story, right? That's about what it's going to sell for. If it's MSRP, it's probably selling for 30% less than what it's marked.
Right. I don't know. I don't know
either, you know. All right, let's check the comments here. Sir or Music Man. They're both really good instruments. I got to say, I thought a couple of the Music Mans I was checking out just really felt great. I mean, you could see the quality was there. Again, it's, you know, it was an expensive guitar. It was north of $2,000. Can we define expensive as north of $2,000?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. And mid-price, 1,000 to 2,000, or 500 to 2,000, and low price under 500 or under 700.
I would say low price is under 500.
Yeah,
I would say a good guitar is up to $1,000. You could pick something real nice out for up to $1,000. I think once you get to about $1,000 and 1,500, you're picking something real sweet out. Once you hit $2,000, you're in custom territory.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, you could certainly have, you know, the keys will whip you up a custom made. You get to choose a bunch of options, you know, and it would be right around $2,000. I mean, if you wanted to really dress it up, you know, nice top and, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
You do.
I think, I mean, they'll do USA stuff for $1,000, 1,200, you know, which is pretty.
You know, I love Kiesel and Carvin. Those base models are awesome. Like you say, you can get it for around 1,000, but no one ever does. Right? They always like, oh, I think I want this and I want that. And by the time you add a few options up, you're at 1,200 or, you know, 1,400. But it's the guitar you want.
Right.
That's the whole thing with them is that, you know, you get to choose all the options yourself, which is probably why we talked about this the last episode, why they have a tricky resale value because there's no stock model, right? All a la carte. So
well, that's like the Harley Davidson syndrome, right? Once you start customizing your Harley, you lose. You know, you have to, if you ever sell it, you'd have to find somebody that likes exactly what you liked.
Right.
So otherwise you're actually depreciating the value of the bike, right?
Right.
Unless you keep it stock. And like you said, there's really no stock model.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone asked if we were able to try the new Marshall Origin amps. I didn't. I did try the DSL 20 at GitCon, and I was sort of under lock and key not to talk about it until they introduced it at the NAMM show. So I kept saying there's going to be a new amp, but we can't talk about it, but it's super awesome. And it was the DSL 20, which, you know, they had out on the floor at GitCon, and they were like, don't take a picture of it. Don't talk about it. It's just this amp never existed. And we were like, dude, why would you bring that? And I love that DSL 20. And I think Phil McKnight was pointing out that they really price pointed everything to match Blackstar, right? So if Blackstar has a 20 watt amp, they have a 20 watt amp at the same price point and so forth.
So I have to make two comments there. First of all, just a shameless plug on thetoneking.com. There's Phil Smith, who's actually in the comment right now, did the whole write-up on the DSL 100, the 20, the 1, etc. So it's all up there. If you want to read about it, you could actually see it on the site. And the Blackstar thing was interesting because I just released a video, I think it was yesterday. So they have their head, which is right over here. That's their new model, the Mach 2. But, dude, I was blown away by this. They have these 10-watt amps. There's 3 of them. One's a KT88, one is an EL34, and one is a 6L6. The street price is about $500, and they roar. And I just put that video up, and the KT88, which is based off the Series 1, sounds phenomenal. Right. 10-watt KT88, 12-inch speaker. It's a machine. Yeah, Showman Blues just wrote the KT88 was killer. It is $500. They're going to sell a boatload of those. I mean, the price point is one of those, yeah, you know, I got some gift cards or let me treat myself price point, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There were definitely so people were talking here about the new Chapman super expensive line. I got a couple of thoughts on that. People have been asking them for years, when are you going to come out with like a high-end, like, why aren't you building anything in England? And it's like, well, because it's very expensive. And they're like, we'll come out with an expensive line. And then he came out with an expensive line, which is very few production. I think they're talking about 12 guitars a month are going to be built, or 10 guitars a month.
It's still a lot of guitars.
Right. They're basically like, you know, you wanted a high, we did it, and maybe they'll just be built to order, right, to keep down costs.
How much was the price on it?
I think they're like $3,500. So
it's a lot of dough.
They're getting into Sir territory, right? But they're handmade in England, and I gotta say, in person, they looked pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That said, the guitar that, you know, probably stole my heart this NAMM show was that Vola.
I was going to say, let me guess. Yeah, it was the Vola.
The Vola. Yeah.
Same thing, man. The guitar that stole my heart was that, what's the name of it?
Blaze? Is it
the Blaze.
Blaze?
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'll tell everybody, and Pixie, I think, Steve, I think I told you, I'm sorry.
You can call me Pixie.
Dude, it's ingrained. That was like, I felt like that was a Jackson custom shop quality instrument.
They made that one you were playing. So Vola makes guitars in 2 countries, right? The United States and Japan. And I think the one you were playing was Japanese made?
Yes, it was Japanese made.
Here's what I found. I thought the Japanese ones had a neck profile that I liked more. You know, I don't like the larger, like, Gibson 50s style neck. I don't like the larger, like, Fender 1965 neck. It's a little too chunky for me. That's what some of those Volas felt like. The Japanese ones were much more slender, more like an Ibanez, not a wizard neck. That's much thinner. Maybe like an Ibanez. What do they call it? The ultimate neck or something like that. I forget the name of it.
Dude, it has like a Jackson soloist neck.
yeah, like a Jackson soloist neck. Yeah, you might be right. Yeah,
it's almost like just a straight up U-shaped, a little thinner than a U-shape, but
yeah, and it's a natural neck on the back, right? It wasn't painted. Yeah. If I remember correctly.
Not painted. It was neck through. It had like perfectly done binding, and the paint job, the way I don't know how they did it, but only the grain had this metallic fade, and then everything else was black. It was just a gorgeous instrument.
Right, right.
You know?
Yeah, I was impressed by the Vola stuff. The other thing I liked, I don't know if you checked it out, was in the Warwick booth. They had a couple of the new televisions. I don't know if you've ever played that. It's a hollow body or a semi-hollow. It's got like an F hole on one side. It's the shape that they used for the GitCon logo. And it's just a very interesting guitar. I like that one a lot, and I really like the frameless neck profile. If you're not getting the Phil X, which has a chunk in the neck, it's a pretty comfortable neck profile.
You know, I keep going back to that Phil X model. They had that white Phil X. I think did Peter McKnight, Philip McKnight buy it?
He went home with it. Yes, he bought it. And
the white.
The funny thing is, they couldn't sell it to him because they were in the United States and they have distribution contracts and dealer contracts. So they're like, we cannot sell the guitar. He's like, I want the guitar.
So he paid full pop to the dealer. Yeah,
full price right to the dealer. He's like, I want the guitar. Are we not hearing each other?
I think he got a great guitar. It's just such an awesome guitar. It really is an awesome guitar.
Someone was asking about the PVHP2s. Did you see the PVHP2s at all?
Dude, I want one.
They're nice, right? I checked one out too. I thought it was nice. What's
funny is the one that I want is the white one. And I was taught, you know,
I sort of like that. They had almost like a caramel flame top. I thought was gorgeous, but I agree the white one is awesome too.
The white one is, you know, it's funny when I look at it. It didn't remind me of Eddie Van Halen, but it kind of does, right? He always had like the white top type of things, right? He never really got into the wood stuff, right?
Well, he was doing a quilt thing for the longest time when he was with, was it Music Man?
Ernie Ball, yeah.
Ernie Ball, right. So he was doing the quilt thing, and then that was over, and then it was sort of solid colors, and I forget if he was doing flame. I remember him with a flame top, but again, I'm not the person to ask. I'm not, you know, I know. Yeah. You know,
so
the red one, the yellow and black, and the white and black.
So I asked my buddy over at PVS, sort of, so Pixie, you'll appreciate this. He goes, I said, "What will it take?"
A couple of people asking why Baker isn't here. He got sick. He agreed to do this like yesterday, and he texted me this morning and said, "Dude, the Namthrax caught up with me."
Dude, he always gets Namthrax.
I know. But
don't
forget, he's got a little kid too, and they're known to bring stuff. Trust me, when I had little kids, I was sick nonstop because they go to school and they bring stuff home. So even if you didn't get it from NAMM, you know, when you have a kid in preschool or or kindergarten, you trust me, you're getting sick all the time. We're only over it now because my kids are so much older that they can fight it off and they don't bring it home. You know,
and my kids walk around with these when they're older. They're like, "Give me the sanitizer."
Right.
You know? I do want to mention back about the guitars. The PV is phenomenal. I really want one of those. Just looks phenomenal. And someone else mentioned about Ola England's Solar guitars, and man, those just look so nice. I want a red one. I want a Solar in red.
Someone was asking about McKnight. He had a family obligation, and he did a live show last night in a 9-hour Patreon marathon the day before. So, Phil's probably all talked out. But I like the Solars. Of course, that's not with Washburn. So Washburn, if you went to the Washburn booth, was showing like, semi-hollows and a bunch of acoustics. They did not have a metal guitar from what I could see.
No, they did. They had the one wall that had 4 sides.
Okay, they probably missed it.
Yeah, they had the Striper guitar. They had the Parallax. It was literally a quad stand with like 3 on each side.
That's why I missed it.
Yeah,
because if you're in the large aisle, all I remember was acoustics.
Yeah. Well, even the Randall side, they had a bigger Randall wall, but it was just the one wall. I think they're doing better selling acoustics than they are selling metal guitars. In fact, I would think that that's probably true for the market as well.
Oh, the market absolutely is a little stronger because the two biggest guitar players out there right now are playing acoustic, and that's Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
And so, if you talk about influencing young people to pick up an instrument, those are your two big influencers out there right now.
Yeah.
The other thing that's real hot, just coming from my kids, from what I can see, ukuleles. They're massive right now. All those kids in junior high and in middle school and in high school, uke seems to be a huge thing.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
What'd you say?
I said it was dead when if you broke out a uke when I was a kid, it would most likely get smashed over your head.
Yeah.
People, if it wasn't an electric guitar, people were like, "What?"
Well, there was that girl on American Idol. I forget her name. And she came out and did it was an original. They hit the Golden Buzzer Award for this girl. She came out with a ukulele. She's got like millions of followers on Instagram and YouTube, and it's ukes are in. Acoustic ukes.
Yeah, acoustic and ukes. I mean, all you had to do is walk around the show and see how many people were displaying ukuleles, especially downstairs. It was like, whoa.
True Shack in the house. What's up, my man? How are you?
And Quentin's here.
Got a full house tonight. What's the
Well,
count on?
Said Ibanez RG 550. So, did you see Paul Stanley was there on Thursday morning?
No, you saw him?
I couldn't because the crowd was so big. It seemed to be almost like a surprise appearance, and people were like, "What?" And they ran over, and he was celebrating 40 years with Ibanez, even though he had quite a run with Washburn for a while. But he's just going to cut that part right out. But he was like celebrating 40 years with Ibanez, and I could have sworn they had his original cracked mirror guitar there. And there's a little bit of footage out there, but you couldn't get near it. And then they did a 30th anniversary, which that's just making me feel so old. The 30th anniversary of the RG 550s. They had the Desert Sun Yellow, and they had the pink, right? They had the shocking pink.
And you were 30 when the RG 550 came out, right?
Yeah, 33. Yeah, that's the old Satchel joke, right? Right. He's always going, yeah, back in 79, I was 41, and we right, always goofing on that. Oh man. Thoughts on Katana Air? I didn't see it. Did you see the Katana Air?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, yeah, see the purple RG 550, that's it's almost like a metallic. Is it purple mist? I forget the name they call that. But yeah, the purple. I can't think of the name. It's on the tip of my tongue. But they did the Road Flare Red. They did the Desert Sun Yellow. It's like purple fire mist or some crap. I can't think of the name of it.
So naming colors is an interesting thing. Right. BC Rich had the Arrest Me Red. Remember that? Arrest Me Red.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think those are like Pantone colors.
Purple neon. People
got
that. Purple neon. That was it. Steve, is TH3 still your preferred software? Yup. Still the preferred software. No one's come close to it yet. People are trying. No one's there.
What do you like most about it? Is it just the tone?
It's just the tone. It really does. I don't know. They have some sort of a filtering going on that just it doesn't make it as harsh as the other products.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this. I've heard some products where when I've heard it through speakers, I was like, that sounds actually pretty good. And then when I played it through headphones, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is. The thing about TH3 is I can play it through headphones and it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I really love the sound of that software.
All right. I think a lot of software is you really need to, and this is true for software, whether it be on hardware or on a computer. You just need to get to know it and know how to use it. It's not like plugging into a JCM 800 and fiddling with a couple of knobs, you know.
It doesn't hurt to have some pretty decent patches to start out either, because if I get a piece of software and I go through 24 patches and they're all garbage, I lose interest.
Yeah,
you lost me. You better have a decent patch in that first like 24, or else I'm out, because I don't have time to sit there and futz with your software. Sell me on the software. And if I don't see it very quickly, I did try a piece of software at NAMM, now that I think about it.
which one?
This is a NAMM related show. Thanks, Phantom Rips. Hey, man. Great talking with you, the NAMM CEO. All right. Thanks, buddy. I did see a really nice piece of software over in the new building downstairs. They had a software row. And I tried a thing by a company called Blue Cat, and it was called the Destructor. Now that by itself is just a piece of like just distortion. So by itself, it's just dry and it doesn't sound good. But you know, you need a little bit of ambience, right? You need something, especially when you're not playing in a room. You're playing headphones. I mean, there's absolutely zero reflection, right? The room could not be deader because there's no room. But he had this amazing piece of like reverb software that went with it. And when we paired those up, dude, I was doing the Stevie Ray stuff and the metal stuff. He had the delays going, and the delays were all cascading. I'm like, dude, this sounds amazing. So I have the Destructor software, but the reverb delay modulation software is still in development. I might wait till that's finished before I do my video on it, because the paired up, they sounded so good. And the Destructor by itself is just okay. It really does need that other piece of software, I think, to really bloom, you know, and sound like really amazing. You know, without it, it just sounds like a lot of other packages. And like I say, TH3 is the one to beat. I think you can be as good. From what I was hearing down there, playing through his little speakers there, I mean, we were getting some amazing, the Van Halen stuff. I was like, dude, this sounds awesome. So we'll do a, I'll definitely do that one once I get all of his software in-house. I could try it before and try just another reverb, but I'd rather use his product. I'd rather pair his two products together, and having heard them already, I know they sound really good together.
Yep. So, you know, speaking of that, I played something for the first time at Winter NAMM. It's something that always comes up. It's one of those topics everybody always wants to talk about. And for the first time, I played it. You want to take a guess? 3 guesses?
Oh.
We could make it fun, because I could just tell you and that wouldn't be fun.
Right. And
I'll tell you this. I was blown away.
Oh. Was it a Kemper?
Oh, man, you got it.
Nailed it!
And look, Dimitri got it too, Kemper.
Never doubt the kid.
You know what? It was Sunday.
Yeah.
I was being very leisurely, and there was no one there. And I said, do you mind if I sit down? And they had chairs, headphones, guitars. I said, could I try it out? They said, have at it. No manual. Nobody came over. Nothing. I just moved a couple of knobs. Very intuitive.
Right.
Man, it sounded really good.
Well,
I was blown away.
Who never goes to NAMM, like the day after NAMM, or like the Saturday of Friday of NAMM or Saturday NAMM, they just announced the new Axifex 3. And if you look at it just from sheer processing power, it's like twice as fast as twice as much strength, you know, per CPU cycle or whatever, with the new software. Versus the old, I mean, the new hardware versus the old hardware. A lot of people saying that the unit looks like the Helix, right? But it's just black with a color screen, big giant color screen. So I think anything that's black with a few knobs and a big giant color screen is going to look like a Helix. Yeah. It's not so much what it looks like, it's what it sounds like. And I'd be interested in hearing the new Axifex 3, but the great thing about Kemper is that they haven't really rolled out new hardware. It's all been software driven. It's all been firmware, and people swear like every time they come out with a new firmware update, the unit just keeps getting better and better and better. And And if you bought one 5 years ago and you're updating firmware in if you bought one in 2012 and you're updating firmware in 2018, that's pretty awesome. That's you got to feel good as a buyer to know that you're still getting a lot of mileage. They're not up to the Kemper 3, right?
So Phil Smith said, something tells me Kemper will come with a new floor unit, and I got to give credit where credit's due. Phil Smith wrote a predictions before we got on a plane to head, go to NAMM. He did a NAMM predictions, and he was right on the XFX.
Really?
Yes.
I love XFX. The problem is that they're $2,500.
I've never played one.
Yeah, well, I don't have to play one. I just have to hear, I've heard, Roberts, and I've heard, a bunch of other. I had one over.
No. See, I got to play it. I
did play one. John Finn brought one over, and I did play through it. It's great. They're, they're awesome, but they're also $2,500, and for $300, I can get amazing software. $179 if you wait till it goes on sale. It's hard to compete. I don't need the hardware to go out with me. My hardware can be a computer, and that's just fine.
Well, those are your roots too. I mean, you've always used the computer as your rig, right? So you got your arms wrapped around that one, to your credit.
Someone said, did you see the MT-15 thoughts? Not only did I see it, I saw Mark Tremonti playing it. I was outside the booth, and he was in the booth playing it. And it sounds amazing. It's an amazing sounding amp. I think it's been a very successful amp for them at the show. I was actually talking to Paul Reed Smith, and he was telling me that I spoke to him on Saturday. He said they had already sold 1,500 units.
Wow. And
then probably said to himself, why am I telling this kid my sales numbers? But
he's proud of him.
yeah, he's proud of him. Yeah. So it seems to be a bit of a success. I would say.
Tony's Fishing, Gaming, and Guitars. I love that name. Said has the Amplitude 4 Max bundle for only $249. When you think about it, there is a lot of options out there, right? From Boss to Line 6 to software to the Kempers, and you know what? It almost begs the question: where does a guitarist begin? You know what I mean?
About Amplitude, I like it a lot better with speakers, with monitors than headphones.
Yeah,
and I know that sounds weird.
No, I get it.
It's almost like the speakers temper the tone a little bit, and the headphones are almost like too much of too wide of a frequency response. Right. And it's like you've got to temper it down a little bit. But I've heard it through speakers and been like, this sounds amazing. And then I play it through my headphones, and I'm like, where was all the magic? What happened to all my magic? And then next thing you know, I'm back to TH3 again. Bias is the best I've found that's not a real tube amp. I've had the opposite experience. Bias, I don't know what it is about it, and it's probably because I'm not in the metal genre. Maybe if I was in the metal genre, I would appreciate it more. I like it better on my iPad. That one sounds better than going through my software. And again, it could just be a headphone thing. But when I play it through my iPad, I'm like, this sounds pretty good. And when I play Bias amp through my rig here, it's just sort of okay, right? It doesn't stand out like TH3 does. I put it in the same pack as like Guitar Rig 5 and Amplitude 4.
Alley Cat says, but do they touch the soul like a tube amp? And that's kind of what I was saying to you. I got to play it. When I was playing the Kemper, I honest to goodness, it felt like I was playing an amp.
Yeah.
A lot of modeling and software, like you could play it. Like when Baker plays his, it sounds great, but how does it feel, right? And that's the thing for especially for modeling. I need to see how it feels. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you exactly. Again, that's where I just think TH3, it's got the feel. For me, I like it. I roll back, and that thing quiets down, and it rolls back. And
where is that made?
Italy.
Hmm. Do you ever talk with them?
No.
Wow.
And they've never been at the show, or I'd go up and introduce myself.
Maybe you should reach out. I mean, you're probably one of their bigger proponents out there. You could probably provide some feedback and input.
I had a developer reach out to me. He says, "Hey, I'm just a developer with TH3." This was in like 2012. He's like, "We just really love what you're doing. And thanks a lot." And I was like, "Cool." I already bought it. I didn't, and they didn't come out with a new product for like 4 more years.
I'm not even saying for like free gear. I'm just thinking you love it, you use it all the time. They could probably benefit from your feedback, your input.
Yeah.
Maybe you have some suggestions and ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah. John Doe says latency is an issue, but it's really not. It really depends on your hardware. I get under 5 milliseconds of latency. I get about 4.5 milliseconds of latency. That's imperceptible. Once you get to about 10 milliseconds, it really becomes a problem. I try to get under 5 if I can, and that's instant. I mean, instant. You really don't feel it at all.
You're right. Hardware does have a lot to do with it.
Really does.
So in my new rig, I got the MacBook Pro, and I bought the USB 3 Claret. And man, there's this. I think, like you said, this like 2 or 3 milliseconds of latency. You play, you hear, like playing an amp. It's nice.
Yeah. I mean, you want that feel, and that's where I think a lot of people. Because I used to have people come over and say, "Dude, there's like a delay on this," but I was so used to it, I couldn't even hear it anymore.
Right.
Well, all of a sudden, I figure out the whole thing about buffers. I had 512 buffers going. I knocked that to 64 buffers, and my latency went from 43 milliseconds or whatever it was. I think it was 40 milliseconds, which is ridiculous, to like 4 milliseconds. And it was a noticeable. I was like, oh my God. But then when I played Guitar Rig 5, I would get crackles and dropouts. I had to raise it from 64 buffers to 128.
Right.
And that was sort of like the happy medium where all the software would work. I don't even know what I'm running for Focusrite right now, but this is a stronger unit. When I was running the old one, it was with this. It was with this mixer, and I was running a PCI 822, which is a piece of hardware that was discontinued 18 years ago and only has a 32-bit driver. So, latency was an issue 18 years ago.
So a couple of folks asked a question, which I think is a good segue into a new topic. They asked about Steve Vai. What is he going to play? And maybe they haven't heard the news, but Carvin reversed the going out of business thing. They're actually staying alive. They're not going to be doing the Pro Audio, right? They showed a new pedal at the NAMM show, the X1, which is an X100B in a box. I don't know if they're going to be doing a lot by way of amps, but the Carvin name isn't going anywhere, at least for the foreseeable future. They re-announced it. So I heard, and this was from an insider, this wasn't a rumor, I heard that Steve Vai truly likes his Carvin amps because they got out of the amp business at the moment. They built him a whole bunch, so he has, and he genuinely wants to keep playing his Carvin amps. He likes them. And if that is the case, I respect him for that, because I think it's important for us as musicians to play what we like.
Now, if much like Kemper, if Fractal Audio came out with a 600-watt solid state rack mountable, Axe-FX 3, would Steve Vai, who famously uses an Axe-FX pretty much nonstop, even when he did his Carvin demo, he ran it through an Axe-FX. You wonder if that would be enough for him to make a switch to a full digital situation.
It's funny. I would have think the opposite. Let me explain to you my train of thought here. He's always said, or at least people have said, he used the Axe-FX for the effects. Yeah. Now, if he truly loves the Carvin tone, because he had a hand in building that, you would think he would profile that and use a Kemper.
Yeah, but I think he threw his hat in with Axe-FX, and it probably would be super awkward.
Yeah, unless Axe-FX has a model for the Carbon, which I don't know if they do, but if they did, maybe it's good enough. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can I ask you a NAMM question?
Sure.
What blew you away?
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say, one thing blew me away. It was that green Vola. I swear to God, I have been gassing on that guitar so hard. I threw a picture of it up. I showed a picture to Vola, and they threw it right up. They were like, "Hey, that's a great pick."
Yeah, we were making a joke saying you should discount this because it has, it had the holes from the burl.
I know. And they're like, you should charge 10 times as much. But I really, the one thing in that whole show where, and I'll tell you why, I didn't really know much about Vola before that. Right. I would get Vola confused with the French company, which is what, Vigier?
Vigier, yeah.
Vigier. I would get confused with them because it's a V guitar, and it's a super strat style, if I remember correctly, right? They do also do a super strat style. So I was a little confused, I didn't, but this, I got it all straightened out, right? Yeah. I spent a long time at the booth. I tried out a bunch of the different guitars. I'd seen Robert play his throughout the year. But I was definitely a little.
I like Robert's guitar, and I like the USA Volas. There's no question. But the Japanese Volas, there was something really different about them.
I agree. I like the two things I liked about the Japanese Volas were, from a feel perspective, and now remember, these are bolt-on, right, versus set neck, right?
Well, no, the Blaze was neck through, wasn't it? Or was that a bolt-on? I don't remember.
I think it's a bolt-on. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
It's funny. I loved it so much. I can't remember what the neck was.
I liked the natural wood feel of the neck. And I liked the binding, and which, again, straight up cosmetic. I'm not saying it does anything but look good. And I like the headstock, and I'm telling you, good looking headstock goes a long way with me. If I hate the headstock, I'm looking your way, Epiphone. You can't sell me the instrument.
Yeah,
I just don't care for it. So
it's funny. Cheddar Kung Pao said, "Are the made in Japan Volas made by Fujigen like the made in Japanese Ibanez?"
Well, that probably is why I liked it so much, because I'm a huge fan of Ibanez, and it's probably it felt so comfortable to me.
I don't know if that's true, but it's funny Cheddar asked that because I heard someone mention that at NAMM. Do you know if there's any truth to that, or?
I don't know. We never got into it. I just knew they were made in Japan.
Yeah.
If that's true, if they are made by Fujigen, that guitar is even more of a bargain.
Yeah. Fujigen had its own FGN. They had their own stand there.
See the booth? I went by the booth. Did you go to the FGN booth?
I did. I met the guy. Very nice people. They only had like a few guitars, but I guess they weren't there to sell guitars, right?
It's a little tricky for them to import to the U.S. Like, Harley Benton sent me a guitar, and it looks like this. Let me show.
Oh, dude, I got a Harley Benton. Can I go get it and show it to you?
But look at this. See that? See this right here? This is the get out of jail card in America point, right? This is so that Gibson won't give them a hard time. If this was in Europe, I think it's much rounder. It looks like the Gibson. You know what I'm saying? So they purposely changed this body, that curve, I think, for the U.S. market, because someone was showing me one. I was like, it looks exactly like mine, but the horn is different. But it was in Germany, right? So it seems like local rules may be applying on that,
right? So I got my Harley Benton. If anyone wants to see it, or if you want to see it, let me know. Go get it.
Yeah, go grab it. I got another Harley Benton. You know what? I'm running a little hot. I'm going to take my my coat off here. Hold on, give me 1 second, guys. Talk amongst yourself for a moment.
Give me 2 minutes. I'm going to get a guitar. We'll do a show and tell. Be right back.
Okay. Yeah, so here's the other one Harley Benton sent me. Look at this monstrosity. Whoa! That's an oven call neck. The fretboard on the Harley Benton, the one I just showed you, the gold top, it looks like rosewood. It's not. It's blackwood. It's actually blackwood. Do I have a pick here? Yeah. Probably out of tune. Not bad though, right? They were like, we should send you a couple guitars. I'm like, send me something I don't have. And these showed up, and I was like, touche. This one's heavy. It's got the weight to it. But, it's got little things. See that little mark right there? That's like a little dent in the wood, but it's under the finish. You can't feel it. It's like the wood's dented, and they just filled it in. I always wanted a gold top with PAFs, though. People are like, why don't you name your guitar? So I named this one Gold Top Harley Benton with PAFs. It's my most creative name ever. There's the old Backarooey. Wah! Wah! Yeah, that's the Blackwood fingerboard. Nice. It's great. This guitar feels, but they both feel pretty awesome. This guitar is like what, $139?
So,
because there's no VAT.
This is the this here is,
what do you got there?
The Harley Benton.
You got the fan fret.
This is the fan fret 7-string. And
you went full fan fret on that. Look at that thing.
This is the first fan fret I've ever played. And it's interesting because, it kind of makes sense,
Shane here? Did Shane just show up? People saying, hey, Shane. Did you see PRS came out with a fan fret?
I want to say I did see that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, they did. I don't think I played. When I go into the PRS booth, I'm like, oh my God, look at the wood. Look at the top on that. And I'm snapping pictures like crazy, but I don't remember seeing the fan fret, but I know I had heard that it had come out and that it's new to the market. Yeah, I like that. I like that fan. I wouldn't get a 7-string. I'd get a 6-string just because 7 strings make my brain hurt. I look at them and I'm like, Durr. Hey, we should. How did that Coke wind up on my back?
How did what? Oh,
dude, I can't stop thinking about it. Like, how does that even happen? Right? Was she just walking and just walked into the wall because she was looking at her phone? I don't know.
You got to tell everybody the full story, though. So,
we get out of the NAMM show, and Tone King and I, we're starving, right? We get out of there, and we're like, okay, let's go to. I hadn't been there in 4 years. I said, I want to do In-N-Out Burger again. I went the first year, haven't been in 4 years, want to do In-N-Out Burger again. He's like, you know what? I'd love to do In-N-Out Burger too. So let's do it. So we went to his hotel. He had a rental car, nice Charger that he rented. And we went to
In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah, we went to In-N-Out Burger. Hold on, I'm just gonna tag it on me so it doesn't run to you when you're tuning. So we went to In-N-Out Burger, and if you know anything about In-N-Out Burger, it's not like a big, massive floor to go and sit. So when you walk in there, the first thing you have to do is scan like the Terminator for an open place, an open booth. And I made a beeline for like an open booth, you know, in there, and we got it no problem. And there was actually 2 open booths, and the family went into another booth. And so my back is to where they ordered, and Tone King was like, you know what, I'll go up and order for both of us. I got this. And I was like, sweet. So we're sitting, he's up ordering, his back is to me. I'm facing away from the ordering place. My back is to him. And in between us, a teenage girl manages to spill her entire Coke down my back, ice and all. I was like, oh my God. I jump up, and if it was a dude, I would have got to the bottom of it right then. Right? It would have been a series of, let's just say, cross-examination questions to get to the bottom of the story. But it was a girl, and a teenage girl, it appeared to be, and she could not have been more apologetic. She just, I mean, just sorry, nonstop. And the people in the booth behind me, I jump up, they look at me, they're like, what happened? No one seemed to know what happened, how it happened. My booth is swimming in ice cubes and Coca-Cola. She's in there like sweeping out, you know, to try to clean the booth. Well, I'm not going to sit down there again. My whole back of my shirt is just completely soaked, right down to my pants. So we walked across, and it wasn't a booth, which I didn't even want to sit in, but there was like, you know, like McDonald's where the seats are sort of built into the table and they swivel. We sat there and we had our dinner. And then when we went out to get in the car, my back was so soaked with Coke, I had to like turtle my arms out of my shirt, spin it around on my neck and put them back out. So at least the wet part was on the front and the dry part was in the back, so I could sit in his car and I wouldn't ruin his stupid rental car. You know, it's like my back was soaked with Coca-Cola and or Diet Coke. There was an analysis performed, but you get it. And but I have no idea what the hell happened there. I would love to know, how does the Coke get from inside that cup to down my back? But you know what? She cleaned that up, grabbed her bag, and ran out of there so fast. She was like mortified, and I'm pretty sure I saw her at the NAMM show the next day.
I have to give it to you. So one of his New Year resolutions was to be a kinder person, right? And dude,
you coming back to me.
Yeah, you kept that was you were being tested, and I got to give it to you. You were cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
the funny thing was, you kept asking me, how does that happen?
How is it?
I'm like,
how is this? I know, I can't. How is this happening? How am I in this situation right now? Was she trying to put the lid on and it fell over? I think she was looking at her phone, and I think she walked into the booth behind me. I mean, I don't know what happened. Or she was trying to put her, I don't know what. All of a sudden, I just started to hear ice. You could hear the ice banging off the back of my, banging off the, you know, because the booth is made out of plastic, right? It's a resin booth, right? It's like they're plastic seats. And I could hear them banging off the back of the seat. And I thought it was behind me. But you can, you know, ice cold Coke, you feel it pretty quickly. I don't know. I almost want to, I'm dying to see that footage.
Yeah.
You know, from the security cam.
Right.
Just to see what the hell happened.
And I didn't see any of it because I was ordering the food.
Exactly. That's why I had no witness. There were no witnesses.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what the hell happened. It is, least of all me. And I was just like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
That's funny.
But
well, you kept your cool. Accidents happen.
Well, that's what I said. I was like, I kept telling myself, it's a teenage girl who's clumsy. She just happened to drop it.
Dude, I was on a flight. You want to hear something bad? I was on a flight to United once where on my way home from Vegas last year, some dude, and I paid for an upgrade, right? So I'm up front. Some dude who's drunk spilled his freaking drink on me. And then, like, I'm trying to clean it off and all that. And then he was like, asked the stewardess, like, oh, you know, can you fill this back up? And he's being all reckless. And I'm like, you know, but I kept my cool. Do you know why? Because I was on an airplane.
Right.
I would have opened my mouth, they would have. I would have had marshals waiting at the other end.
We went to Baker's Hotel, right? We were going off to dinner. We stopped at Baker's Hotel for like, 20, 30 minutes where people went upstairs to go to the bathroom, get changed, and get ready to go out. So we're down in the lobby. It's, a waterfall and a bunch of tables, and they actually have, free water and free soda, and like you can get like some chips, but they're serving alcohol, which you have to pay for. So we sit down, and I can hear the table next to us, and I'm clearly hearing Boston accents. And I'm clearly hearing a guy who's a little tipsy. And he goes up to he pulls, he's right next to us. I mean, 2 feet away. He goes out, he goes, all right, I'll be right back. And he gets up and walks away. And I look over. There's got to be 15 empty of those little plastic cups with ice in it. Like if you got like a rum and Coke, right? They put it in that little short cup, right? It's like a little drinky, but it's plastic, right? Little drinky drink cup.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be 12, 15 empty on the table. He walks back with 4 more. And I'm like, now, if he spilled a Coke on my back, I'd get it. Right? Because he's hammered. But yeah, it was bizarro.
Wow.
But I know what you're saying. It's like clumsy. And it's like, what do you do? Like you said, you're stuck on a flight. This girl was a teenager. What are you going to do?
Sometimes you just got to suck it up. What are you supposed to do?
I will say if it was a dude, I would have been a lot more aggressive in my line of questioning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it would have just made you feel better, but
that's all I would have done.
Yeah.
I would have been like, now I need you explain to me right now.
Nice. So how do you like your Harley Benton?
I think they're great.
Yeah.
I think they're surprisingly nice. It's
amazing.
Like it's like one of those things where you're like, how much is this again? It's like if you go to the website and you look it up, this is like $135 guitar.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously?
It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, they're made in China, but. So
Phil Smith says, what are your thoughts about pedals at NAMM? Are you at the end of the pedal era? It's interesting. I like pedals, but I find it difficult to go up to a booth and play pedals through a headphone.
I find that pedals are one of the worst things at NAMM to demo.
Yeah.
It's all about audio, and the audio in there, you are fighting a constant barrage of sound waves.
Right.
You can't even get your sound waves to come out and counteract those sound waves. I mean, that's how crazy it is. So
and to hear a pedal through a headphone, very difficult.
Yeah, it's not a good scenario. That's why GitCon was like a million times better. I fell in love with pedals at GitCon when I heard those TC Electronics and those Keeley pedals.
I agree. See, the thing with, at least for me, I speak for myself. For me to appreciate a pedal, I have to be in a good rig. I have to be like, what is it adding?
Well, you have to be in its final destination. So sometimes I've tried pedals through the software and they didn't work out. But then I played it through an amp and I was like, well, there's the sound I remember.
You're right. The pedals need to be in the final destination. That's very well thought out. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it feels all temporary when you're at NAMM. Like I said, to listen to anything and discern any quality at NAMM is practically impossible, which is why amp booths get shut down, like that amp booth did, because they're trying to crank up so you can hear the stupid amp, but you can't, because there's just, like I said, there's like the non-stop barrage of sound waves.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So I do want to answer one question. RJM C Dade says, how is your interaction with Chapman this year? So I did. So when I'll give everyone the story. So when I went by, which was Thursday. Oh no, was it Thursday or Wednesday? I think it was Wednesday.
Okay, so before the show opens.
It was before the show opens. And
like, it's happening again.
I saw Rabia and I saw Matt, and I said, guys, my camera is not on. So they laughed. We hugged each other. We said hello. And, you know, everything was good. And Matt had even said, you know, dude, just felt so bad about everything that happened last year. And I said the same thing. I said, me too. I feel really bad. There was, you know, it just, you know what it is? You get caught up in the moment. And he probably heard about it all year. I heard about it all year. And it was just nice to see someone in person, and we laughed over it.
And it was about 15 minutes of meeting time last year. So like when you put it in perspective, right, it's a 15-minute encounter.
Yeah. But it was just funny because before I even said hello, I said, guys, the camera's not on. They looked up and everyone laughed, and it was all good. So, and I saw Rob. I said hello to Rob. I said hello to Rabia. Matt was very, you know, just very in good spirits. Everybody it was good.
Did you happen to see Rob's kid?
No.
His son?
I didn't. I think I saw Rob on.
Oh my God. That kid was so adorable. He got the big, you know, he's right at that age with the
sure.
And you know, they're so cute. It's like he was adorable, you know, as a kid that age is, right? When they're 1 year old. They're all smiley and they're not really talking, a little bit, but not really. He's about a year old. And it's, you know, it's a great age if you don't have to go home with them. Right? If you don't have to take care of the kid, you know, it's a good age when when you're with them for, you know, 20.
I'm surprised they let the baby in because usually it's not anyone under 18 they don't allow in. I'm surprised. No. I've seen kids there, but how do they get them in?
No, I think you can get a kid in like that, but he was wearing the big headphones.
Of course, yeah.
Which, you know, had to.
You have to, yeah.
You have to, yeah. But you know, it was cute. It was adorable.
That's nice. That's nice.
So that's always nice. And when I was talking about, you know, being a dad with Chapman, we talked about being a dad more than we talked about guitars.
Yeah.
Because I was like, dude, these are the years. This is it. Trust me. They're gonna get old. This is what you get to look forward to when they get older. What?
That's right.
Huh? What? That's all it is.
So someone else asked if I interviewed PRS this year. You know, I had an appointment, and I chose not to do the interview this year. I don't know why. I just, you know, I had some questions and I didn't know, you know, I took so much criticism over last year's because it was so awkward. I just didn't want to go round two on that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't.
I like PR Smith.
Yeah. I had an interview with them. I don't know if I'm going to post it. I felt it was a little awkward. And you know what? When I was waiting for him and we were in the back room, I looked up and he looked really angry at somebody else. And I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
This isn't going to go well because he's already in a mood. And we haven't even walked in there yet. And I think I was like, so like, you know, so you started here, but he's like, yeah, dude, it's all in the book. I didn't even know there was a book. It's like, okay, guess I'll read the book. Oh yeah, that's right. Someone's saying happy birthday, Tone King. I think it was your birthday recently, right?
Yesterday was my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here we go. Here we go. We got to do it. Ready, guys? You got to join in. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. To you.
Wow. Wow. That was awesome.
And
thank you. All right. I get all the birthday wishes coming in. Thank you, everyone.
That's the Ramones version of happy birthday.
So for my birthday, we went to Danino's Pizza on Staten Island last night. That's what I did for my birthday.
Nice. Is that a place?
Best pizza on earth, Danino's, Port Richmond Avenue.
You grew up with? Because I know you were originally from Staten Island.
Yeah, right around the corner.
Nice, great,
very close. Yeah. Great pizza. So my wife and kids were like, "Where do you want to go eat?" You know, they were thinking, you know, the fancy Italian restaurant, to this, to that. I'm like, let's go to Staten Island and get some Danino's. You know?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's good to go. And again, when it's your birthday, it's good to go back to a place, you know, from your childhood, and you know,
Yeah.
was that your first birthday ever going to Danino's? Probably not, right?
Right. No, we always used to go to Danino's. You know, Danino's just great pizza. If you're ever in Staten Island, I swear you'll love it. Go to Danino's.
Well, that was like when we were kids. We would go to the and this was one of the original ones, the Papagino's in Cleary Square in Hyde Park. You know, and they had a jukebox at every single table, and you know, would get a large pizza and a bunch of Cokes, and would be sitting there, you know, pumping quarters in and listen to, like, you know, Ricky Don't Lose That Number.
Right.
You know, me and my sister fighting over like the next song coming up on. She wants to play ABBA. You know, I'm playing Steely Dan.
So it's fun. Said Brothers Pizza of Red Bank, New Jersey. So right around the corner from Nino's is Brothers Pizza, and my parents always loved Brothers. Growing up, my parents always liked Brothers, but when I, you know, started to drive, you know, a little more independent, the Nino's was always the spot. You know, thin crust, brick oven, phenomenal. There's a lot. I gotta admit though, there's a lot of good pizza on Staten Island. They say it has to do with the water.
Oh, really?
There's a Danino's in New Jersey, not so good. It's not. Let me take that back. It's not the Danino's of Staten Island.
Right.
You know, it tastes like pizza over here, but when you go to Danino's, man, you just, it's good.
Yeah. Plus, it's what you grew up on, so you have a hankering for it, right?
Right.
On here, you know, other than a chain like that, probably, you know, Regina's in the North End, or what's the other, Giorgio's in the North End.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's, you know, that's what you do. You'd skip school, you know, get down to the North End, get a slice of pie, head over to Faneuil Hall, see what you can steal, and then the next thing you know, it's 1 o'clock and time to get back to go home.
I remember growing up, there was a pizzeria next to the high school. I went to Port Richmond High School, and I think it was for $2, like $1 for a Coke, $1 for a slice, $2. You know, you get a good New York slice and a soda. Today, you go to the pizzeria, you get a slice and a soda, you're like 6, 7 in, you know?
Right. MB215 says, how you feeling about the game tomorrow towards your Eagles? I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I realize that, you know, the entire world hates the Pats, but we're okay.
Who do you think will win? Bias aside, who's the better team this year? And I don't follow sports. That's why I'm asking.
Against Brady.
You think
That's
what?
all. I think it's hard to bet against Brady. And if anything we learned from last year is that we can be down 28-3 and still make a comeback. So, you know, there's that.
Right. Who did he win last year against? He won last year, right?
Yeah, we won it last year in overtime. We were down 28-3 and we made a full comeback. We won it like what, 31-28? I forget the score, but yeah. So
he's getting old too. How old is Tom Brady?
40. I know. You know, but he's got carte blanche there. You know, they're never going to boot him out. They're going to let him go on his own terms. So he's earned it. He's earned it. So
I mean, as long as he keeps, You
know, it's like, why? He's such a fan favorite. If they ever try to trade him or anything like that, oh my God, there'd be torches and pitchforks outside the stadium, and they know, they know it. You know, so look, I'll be honest, we don't have a lot to lose in this game. Like the saying is, there's always last year.
Right.
You know, so the pressure's all off us, quite frankly. For us, it's going to be like just chowing a bunch of food and watching the game. And I remember last year we were like, all right, so we just didn't win it. I don't freak out about that stuff. Probably because I don't bet on sports. I think if you're a betting person, you're probably got a lot more invested in it, but I don't bet on that stuff or anything like that. To me, it really is just a sport, and I don't really get into that that tribalism like people get way into. I'm just not there. Sorry. Just not into it that much. I used to watch a lot more Red Sox and hockey, but I don't even really do that anymore. I'm pretty much the occasional Celtics game. If there's nothing else on, I say, oh, the Celtics are playing. And I usually catch every Pats game, but even the Pats game, I might miss one once in a while. You know, I'm not that into it. But hey, you know, my family will be watching it. We'll have you know, we'll get a you know, pizza and, you know, a calzone or whatever, and we'll have all kinds of stuff to nosh on up in the attic, and we'll watch it on the big screen on the 110. You know.
Next big amp. I don't know if I have a next big amp in my future. What about you?
Well, I tell you, I really love the Grandmeister 40.
Yeah.
Telling the guys from Hughes and Kettner, unfortunately, I only have the Panama cabs, and the Panama cabs are just okay. You know, I've heard that amp when we were at the NAMM show, and I was playing through that 112. I'm like, oh my God, this sounds so much better than at home. So it's just the cab. So in the short term, I got to run it through the reload box. And in the long term, maybe I can get a Celestion loaded, like a vintage 30 Celestion loaded cab, because that's what I was playing through there, and it sounded amazing. So that's really.
Musician's Friend has a $200 4x12 loaded with Celestion vintage 30s right now. $200.
Who does? Musician's Friend?
Yeah.
Or Harley Benton. I know Harley Benton makes a 212 with Celestion vintage 30s.
412.
It's a 412. Wait,
yeah.
Well, listen. I want to be very clear here. It's a 412 inch speakers in a cab for $200.
Yes. Let me see if they still have it.
Oh my God. That's
see if they still have it.
That's pretty good.
Nope, they don't have it anymore.
Was it like a deal of the day, stupid deal of the day or something?
Yeah, they had the whole stack, the 200 for the bottom, 200 for the top. Looks like they're sold out.
Right.
I didn't buy them because I don't need it, but it was a crazy good deal. Usually I get my tips from, you know, someone will email me, and I saw it and I'm like, oh man, I would have bought it, but I need another 4x12, like I need a hole in my head, you know?
Yeah. Well, you have plenty of cabs to choose from. I have like 2 Panama or 3 Panama cabs to choose from. And, you know, those Panama cabs, you know, they're okay, but they're not amazing, you know?
I have to be honest with you. And I told the guys at Panama this, I love the cabinets. The speakers are okay. The cabinets are great. The speakers are okay.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. The other thing they had there that I wouldn't mind getting, and I talked about it with Hughes and Kettner, is they have a pretty awesome new acoustic amp. And
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I like acoustic amps.
Yeah.
They really, I like them. I'm a fan. So I wouldn't mind checking out one of those. It's a little, you know, I realize, you know, not what people are usually expecting. But I like acoustic stuff. He even said, he goes, you play acoustic? It's like, it's the same guitar, dude. Yeah.
Right.
Or the same thing when they did, it's the Era 2. H&K Era, ERA. The new one, it's 2, which is just, I think it's 2 speakers instead of 1, and a little bit more headroom.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that, you know, that's always cool to check out. I'd love to try out one of those Tri-Axis. Those are amazing, huh? It's a $4,000 amp, but
which one is that? Oh, the H&K. Yeah.
Tri-Axis.
Tri-Axis is the Boogie rack mount.
Okay.
That's why you threw me off. I'm like, what?
Let's try something, okay? It's like, try to get it right.
Oh, look at that. The Era 1. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's a new one, an Era 2, which is just, I think it's 2 speakers instead of 1.
I have an acoustic amp in my stage area back there. It's a Behringer, like AX 2000. I use it for like a little PA. It's clean.
Every time I play through an acoustic amp, I say, "Oh, I got to get me one of these," and I never get around to it. Right?
Yeah. This looks nice though.
Yeah. Oh, they're nice.
Carvin used to make a really nice acoustic amp, but they're not building amps anymore. You could probably get a steal on one, you know, through eBay or Reverb. I actually sold my first guitar on Reverb.
Did you really?
Sold my first one,
wow.
Which I thought was really interesting because it said, okay, the guy paid, you could now ship out the guitar. I'm like, okay, he paid, but where's the money? So they hold the money.
Right.
They like escrow that until that guy gets his guitar. And I'm like, I'm confident because, you know, I take care of everything, but you never know. So I had my wife videotape the whole thing. You know, hey, here's the guitar. You know, here's the case. Here's the condition. I flipped it around, showed the serial number, put it in the gig bag, put it in the box, showed the box, filled it with like bubble wrap all the way around, just because you never know. I don't want what I would hate is some guy gets it and it's like, yeah, it's cracked in half and it like, you know, fabricated, like this is the box it came. You don't know.
Right.
I recorded the whole thing.
Did you someone's saying, did you try the Boss Katana artist amp? I did not. I didn't try the Boss Katana. Boss, are they up on the second floor? Where was the Boss room?
They were right next to H&K.
Oh my God, yeah, I missed them.
No, you didn't, dude. We were there together.
Oh, that's the room?
That was it.
That Roland room?
That had everything. We were there.
It was dark. There was a lot of lights going on. It was like
hot.
Walked in there, it was like they're like, welcome, yo. We were like, okay. It was hot in there. Yeah, I couldn't wait. I was like, dude, you got to get me out of here.
So some folks are saying, like Showman Blues says, don't use Reverb, direct use PayPal. Can someone educate me on? I know what the difference is, but why? So Pix, did you ever sell anything on Reverb?
No. I tend to go through Craigslist.
Really? I don't have fun. I don't have luck with Craigslist.
Yeah, I've had some pretty good luck with Craigslist, mainly for guitars, but not for amps. You know, amps, you got to give them away.
When you use PayPal, you get immediately.
Right. Yeah, but I'm sure, you know why they want to keep, you know why Reverb wants to do it is because they want to keep their money, right? It's like they deduct their part of it and then send you the rest. That's a pretty standard business model. Like we collect the money and we pay them their net and we keep our portion.
Huh.
They don't have to rely on you to pay your percentage.
So I was talking to Philip McKnight about this, and he mentioned, so he didn't have a good experience selling something on Reverb, something with an amp. Something went wrong. And of course it's going to happen. But I remember him telling me that because it went through eBay, they didn't want to, you know, like when you buy and sell through eBay, they'll honor the buyer policy, the seller like guarantees and all that, which is important. And I think the fine print with Reverb is if you don't use the Reverb direct, they won't give you the buyer and the seller insurance.
Yeah, because they want to make sure that they can't give you the insurance because they don't have the money to refund.
Right.
The money's gone. We have no way to get in that money to refund it. So if you don't go through us, you don't get it. So some people are asking, you know, Philip McKnight was contacted by Gibson to do demos. They were asking our thoughts on that.
Dude, I got the same email from Gibson.
Did you really?
I did.
Huh. Yeah, I did not make the list.
Well, to be fair, I knew the guy there. He and I have been friendly for many years. And he said he wanted to keep the line of communication open. Some of the stuff we spoke about in the past, we may be able to do. He's a social guy. He kind of gets what we do and always wanted to leverage it. Right. And I guess he just never had the internal support. But he said things are changing and he wants to start, kind of leveraging some of the good stuff that we do out here,
I gotta say, it would be a smart move on their part.
I agree.
I think to ignore the community, put you on an island.
Yeah.
And I think what's happened is that you would have all the big boys were like, yeah, we have our own marketing. We don't need these YouTubers, right? That's adorable, but we're all set, right? The young guys leveraged it to the max, and they got a lot of boost out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then just look at Chapman; he's a complete internet brand, I mean, practically, right?
Right.
So they're looking at that and they're saying, "Me too." Right? Why aren't we doing this? It's like, are we too snobby? Are we too big to go to YouTube? And then they also realized that, who had 500,000 subscribers in 2012 or 2013? Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
That's changed, right? Now you got people that have more and more subscribers. Everybody's got tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and it makes it easier for them to say, okay, we're going to do something with this. So,
yeah, it's real.
Yeah, it's real, right? They can't ignore it any longer. Right? They have to do something. What's so interesting is that such a traditional company like Fender seems to be blowing everybody off. But get right. They want to do their own thing. They're like, yeah, well, we'll have Fender TV. We'll produce our own videos.
You're right about that. Yeah.
We don't need you. We'll just do our own.
Mm-hmm.
But that only goes so far. That still feels like a big sell versus, and they're like, everybody plays Fender anyway. We get free advertising. We don't have to go to them. But it probably wouldn't be a bad thing if they reached out to a few YouTubers. Not even necessarily me, though I wouldn't turn them down. I'm just saying, there's probably some advantage to be had by reaching getting in this community.
So yeah, my email was very open-ended. It wasn't, hey, could we send you a guitar and could you review it? Because that's not fun. I have to be honest with you. Just getting a guitar and saying, hey, like the review for me is just not fun anymore. So what he had mentioned was that, to do some collaborative stuff, some fun stuff, right?
Can a Les Paul survive a drop from 2 stories high? You gotta start doing drop videos.
Yeah, yeah. So you know what? I'm down for anything that could be fun, but who knows what that will be? Who knows what and when, right?
Right. Someone says Super amps were crap back in the 60s. I don't think they were crap. I owned a Supro. What happened? Why are they back? They're back because someone bought the name and revived it.
Yeah, the Pigtronics guys.
Right, the Pigtronics guys, exactly.
Yeah. Blimpus, I do not own a B52 amp. I've never played one either. Wasn't B52 a house brand for Guitar Center for a while? Or am I mistaken?
I don't know. There's so many amp brands out there.
I remember B52 came out right around the same time, or maybe it was an exclusive to a Guitar Center / Musician's Friend. I remember when they came out, that was around the time when they had like Raven amps. Remember Raven? That was the house brand.
Not really.
Yeah, Raven.
Right. Someone asked about the new Chrome Boy. I don't know. Chrome guitar, I don't know. I'm not wowed by a Chrome guitar.
I used to have a glass guitar. It was glass. It was mirrored guitar.
The mirrored guitar? Yeah.
I sold it. I look at the guitar and I see me.
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of a greater fingerprint magnet.
Yeah.
Than a solid Chrome guitar. And if you've ever played, I'm sure the Chrome is probably over wood, but if you've ever played any of the solid metal guitars, they've always been sort of lacking. They were never really all that great in tone. I did play a composite this year, though, because every time I would walk around, I would hear, Steve, and I look over to be Henning, and he'd be at a booth, and it'd be like 8:30 in the morning. Come over here. And one of those times, thank God I was with Phil X like a bunch of times because he kept trying to grab me, and Phil X was like, he's with me. And I'm going, dude, thank you. It's like it would have been like the 9th time I pulled into his booth for a video. But he pulled me in on a composite guitar, The guy goes, "What do you think this guitar is made of?" I said, "It feels like a resin composite." And they were like, "Oh, look at the brain on Brad." I was like, "Yeah,
Right.
well, you know, that's what it feels like. It feels like a composite." It was nice. It used a rich light fingerboard, and the
You know,
bot was
my Zach Wild has the Rich Light fingerboard.
yeah,
And it's nice. I actually happen to like it.
yeah. I don't know why they can't go back to ebony other than just being stubborn. I mean, Carvin can get ebony, right? There's plenty, right? Fender just switched to ebony for their elite models. You know, so I don't know why they won't do it other than they're just angry still.
Oh, the government thing.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, well, that's it. Now ebony's over. It's like, it feels like they're punishing the consumer, because I know a lot of people like the Rich Light, you know, but the purists out there, which the Gibson market, it tends to be a more purist market. You know, you would think that they would really cater to them and give them what they want. And it seems like they want ebony, because whenever you see it, they're like, what fingerboard is on this? If it's Rich Light, I don't want it, which is a knee-jerk reaction, right? I don't know that there's really much functional difference between the two, but some people just want the wood. It's that simple. Rather than the what do they call that? Phenolic. It's basically resin and newspaper, shredded newspaper. And it's used in countertops.
I remember when Fender made the guitar from cardboard. You see that video?
Yeah.
They did some special cardboard. Yeah. And the guys were like, yeah, this sounds like a Strat.
Yeah, I don't know if it did. People, you know, anything with single coil sound like a Strat to a lot of people. You know, I always laugh when I hear people say, all your guitars sound the same. And I'm like, dude, you're just outing your bad ears, because I hear massive differences when I play different guitars through my same rig.
Yeah, but you know what? It's Ola Enkelin did a video one time addressing that, because he said, what am I trolling the audience, right? He said, you know, everyone says you sound the same thing, right? It's just his style. Eddie Van Halen's always going to sound like Eddie Van Halen, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like for example, the P90 sound very different from the humbuckers, I think, through the rig. I mean, you can,
but you sound like you.
But I sound like me,
right?
So I play the same riffs, and they're like, it all sounds the same. It's like I'm playing the same riffs.
Yeah, it's not like you're playing some 40s big band or 50s big band on your P90s, you know?
Right. Well, and the other comment I never got was like, we can't hear it because you have distortion on. I hear a huge difference with the distortion on. Again, you know, sort of outing a lack of ears. Sorry. You know, it's the same person who can't hear the difference between the 6-string and a bass. All right, let's see here. What do you think on those new $500 Ibanez Steve Vai Gem Juniors? Yeah, it had an MSRP of $666.67, if I remember correctly. An interesting. Did you notice that all the Ibanez MSRPs were the same number, right? So it was 33, 33, 34, right? And like 666.67, right? The last number would be slightly different. They were doing that a lot, I noticed. They look fine. They're made in Indonesia, right? I picked one up. It felt fine. I didn't feel as nice as Bobby's brand new green gem, but that green gem cost him, and he got it on a crazy sale, like $2,800. So it's hard to mix a $500 versus a $2,800 instrument. But yeah, I thought they were great. I had no problem with them at all. I picked up both of them, but they feel, It's not even so much the wood as it is maybe and not even the hardware. It's like the pickups and the plastic don't feel as nice, if that sounds right. It's hard to explain, but you know what I'm saying? It's almost like they don't use as good of like pick guard,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or pickup bobbins don't look as sturdy. I don't know.
It's
Nice.
yeah. You know, you could definitely and this is like blind taste test stuff, right? You know, someone hands you a $500 guitar and $1,000 guitar without even playing it, you could tell which one is, you know, there's more into, right?
Right. Yeah, the Gem Junior. Someone said it's not a shorter scale; it's just cheaper. Yeah, it's made in Indonesia versus made in Japan. That seems to be the big thing, is that you're getting you're definitely getting a cheaper labor source than you are with the Japanese manufacturer. And I'm sure it's less time and attention per instrument. It's ramped up to a much higher volume than what they're putting out out of the Japan.
Hmm. What's with the milk? I saw a couple of people ask about Milkman amps. Do you know what? I don't even know what that is. Are you familiar with that?
I think I've heard of them, but I don't think I played them, and I do not recall seeing them at NAMM. Hold on.
I don't remember.
The world's crappiest NAMM app. Could they have ruined that app any more this year?
I didn't even download the app.
Dude, it was horrible. What were they thinking?
Is it Milkman or Mickman?
Milkman sound amplifiers, booth 3237.
I gotta Google them real quick.
Yeah, they're out of San Francisco. www.milkmansound.com.
Huh.
Yeah. But sorry, no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is the first I'm hearing of them.
Yeah.
You know what I did like that they did? There was some areas on the floor, like in Hall D, as an example, where they had one big area which had all little guitar builders in that one area. I thought that was kind of cool.
The boutique area.
The boutique area.
The boutique guitar area, which is great because these smaller builders can't afford a whole booth,
but
they can afford a little part of a much larger booth. Everybody it's almost like a mini guitar show within.
Yes. And you know what's interesting?
Just before I was with Henning, Paulie, and we went through there, and he sat down with a guy with a $6,000 guitar, and he was just killing this guy over the cost of that guitar. I felt so bad. It's like, dude, what are you doing to the guy? It's like,
what did the guy say? Because I saw him do that a few times.
And the guy was like, people don't have to buy it if they don't want to. We think we're making a superior product. I don't know, he was sort of like, it was almost like, are you serious right now? I know he was doing that a lot.
Well, it's
Music Man a hard time for not countersinking their back plates. And the guy came up to him. He says, "Are you really losing sleep about the lack of countersunk back plates?" And he was like, "No, it's just with a CNC machine, it's very easy to do. Why not just countersink them?" Which is, I understand the argument. And he's like, "It's the back of the guitar. No one sees it."
Well,
I don't like it. And the guy's like, "Well, maybe other people do."
The way I look at it is that's why we have choices. If you don't like it, it's like, you know what it's like? Yelling at the musician because he's not playing the song you want to hear. Yelling at the radio station because they're not playing the songs you want to hear. It's like, just move on. Find the station that you like.
Right.
And as for the price, charge what you want. It's a free market.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says, oh, this is my cost of materials and I need to make 30 to 40%. Therefore, this is the cost of the guitar. Look at the software world. Build it once and keep selling it over and over and over again. You get to the point where, look at the stocks of Apple and Microsoft and Oracle. Like that's all based on the premise of build it once and sell it to as many people as you can. Nobody hammers them over the price. It's,
Right.
you know, that's so I don't, you know, I think it's just a frame of mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know, these guys, they make a guitar and they say to themselves, you know what? I think we're going to just position ourselves as we can't make this guitar for so little, right? So why not just throw everything we can? We'll make a high-end guitar and we'll get a high-end price for it. And, you know, my point is that we don't need to worry about what they charge, right? The market will speak for itself. We don't need to like lecture this guy about like marketing choices. Like this should be less money. You know, if it's a $6,000 guitar, why doesn't it come with like gold-plated diapers? It's like I don't know, it just doesn't, right? So at some point it just becomes a little, like I said, I kind of felt bad for the guy a little bit. You know, I know what Henning is trying to do. He's trying to basically tell them, you know, you got to think these things through because, you know, with this, there's no shortage of guitars at the NAMM show.
Right.
You walk around and you just see guitar after guitar after guitar from maker after maker after maker. And you're drowning in a sea of, you know, competitors out there.
Right.
You know what, the guy, you know, if they go under, what does he care? Just cover the guitar and move on. But I think that he feels like, you know, he's comparing it because he's walked around to all these other booths and he's sort of comparing it to what he's already seen. But this guy's like,
here's the problem.
Not comparable to anybody else.
Here's the problem. And this is a life lesson type of thing. It's not, and by the way, I love Henning. Okay.
Oh yeah, same here. Don't get me wrong.
Just to be crystal clear, I think Henning is a good person with a big heart, and I love the guy. He's a good-hearted person. Yeah. With that said, in true Henning style, I will give my own opinion. Sometimes he tells people their baby is ugly.
Right. Right.
And unless you ask, do you like the way my guitar looks, or what would you do differently? Sometimes it's customary for you to just, you know, say it's nice and move on, not tell them their baby's ugly, especially when they're not asking for the opinion, right? I think that's where he butts heads sometimes.
Right. Right.
You know, some people love Henning for it, and maybe it's a cultural thing, right? You know, there's the expression of, you know, don't, you know, you just called the person's baby ugly, meaning, you know, I made this thing. It would be wrong for you to, you know, rain on my parade type of thing, right? Unless I ask you, hey, Steve, what could I do different? How can we make that better? But if you just walk up and say, dude, you know, it sucks and you could do this and that and that, you know, culturally, I'd be pissed because I'm like, dude, first of all, I didn't ask you your opinion. Second of all, F you.
It's the old saying, you're answering a question no one asked.
Right, right. And I think that's just, you know, it's maybe, you know, I don't know. That's where I think he butts heads sometimes.
Report on it. And you could basically say, okay, what about this? What about that? How much does a guitar cost? And when the guy comes out and says, this guitar costs $7,500, that the person watching that can make up their own mind about it.
Right.
Say, I think that's a great price for that guitar. And other people say, that sounds like it's 3 times what the guitar should really cost. It's when you're like, 7,500, you know, for that kind of money, you know, and you start to like slam him on his price.
Well, what I would do if someone said, and I said, how much is, they said 7,500, I'd say, well, thank you for your time. Good luck.
Yeah.
Right. You just move on.
Yeah. Right.
But to, you know, knock a guy over.
Yeah. But what's my price?
Right. How do we make this happen?
6,400.
How do we make this happen?
Yeah, how do we make this happen? I know. Where's Sean? Where's Sean?
Dude, you had me laughing.
Where'd Sean go?
Uh,
Oh, Philip
see,
McNamara looking for famous. Yeah, we know. We were there. We gave him hugs. Well, we're fine. We're
a
fine
couple
with
of folks said that's how Henning tells it like it is. And he does. That's his
yeah,
thing. And I respect him for that.
yeah. I'm not saying that he shouldn't do it. I'm just saying I felt bad for the guy when I was standing there. It got awkward. You know?
But you know what? That's what makes us individuals. That's what makes us individuals, right? Like I would. Well, you know what? Even if I wanted to do it, I might ask. Like my question would probably be a little different. I would probably say, "How do you come to 7,500?"
Right.
You know, he might say, "You know what? I think of it like this. He might say, it takes me 1 month to make the guitar. I don't use a CNC. Everything is hand carved."
Well, he might tell you it takes him 4 months to make the guitar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Like maybe he has an answer.
Right.
So that's probably what you want to uncover. Even though I would personally never in my lifetime, the way I know it right now, ever spend $7,500 on a guitar. I wouldn't make you feel bad about it, but I would ask you, help me understand how you come to that. Is it like hand carved?
Well,
you know, like help me understand.
500 on the guitar, but it would have to be like a 64 or 65 Strat where I knew I was getting it for like less than half of what a lot of it would go for. You know what I'm saying? It would have to be like could 7,500 be a deal on a guitar? Yeah, some guitars, but very few. Very few. I think you know, I think it's hard once you get past about 3 or 4 grand, right?
The most I've ever spent on a guitar just peaks at the $2,000 price point.
Yeah, yeah.
Like my Rico Juniors, which are handmade, I don't think he CNC'd anything. Those were 1,700 a piece, used.
Right.
Actually, no, I bought one of them new. I bought 2 of them new, actually. But they were all, they never crossed that price point, And I'll be honest with you, that was many years ago. I can't remember the last time I spent that kind of coin on a guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of dough.
It is. And the thing is that once you have, a couple of nice guitars, it's really hard to justify
another one. Yeah.
Right. I mean, once you have 1 or 2 really nice, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a nice guitar in your collection, but you can have like 2 or 3 really nice guitars and a bunch of mid-price that are really good guitars. They may not have all the appointments that the super nice one has, but they're still pretty damn good guitars. Like a straight up American Standard, or a Gibson SG, or even a used Les Paul for around, say, 15 or 1,600, I used to have a $300 limit, and I tell you, I did pretty damn good playing that game for a number of years.
Right.
You just hold out until it hits it, and then the next thing you know, oh my God, it's hitting that price point.
Well, that was like with my custom audio amplifier. I had a local store that had them. That amp is like $3,500. It's really expensive, and I wanted one in the worst way because I just love the way it sounded. I put it in my eBay filter for maybe a year and a half. I got it for $1,500.
Right.
I got some dude that just, it was already through the used circuit. He didn't lose too much on it, and he was just wanted to let it go, and I got a great deal. He felt good about it. I felt good about it. We both won. Unless something is appreciating in value, like a 59 Les Paul, most gear comes down a little bit. You get it in the used circle, you get a good deal on it,
And other than very specific models, right? And trust me, there are some out there. Guitars are a terrible investment. Terrible investment. You might get back what you paid, maybe a little bit more, but if you just took that money and put it in a mutual fund, or
you get 20% on it, sure.
Exactly. You got the Dow Jones, right? Annually, though, right?
Right.
So, and then that compounds, right? So if you put it in just the Standard and Poor's Index or the Dow Jones Industrial Index. I'm not talking like cherry picking, like put all your money in like Apple and Microsoft and, oh, now I'm a millionaire. I'm not talking about cherry picking stocks we know did very well in hindsight. I'm talking about just following the Standard and Poor's Index or, something like that. You would do much better than you would with, if you took the money you spent on a brand new Strat in 1980 and put it into like, a Dow Jones Industrial Index Fund, you would probably crush whatever that Strat is worth today. You bought Strat for 600, today it's worth 1,500. And if you just kept reinvesting that Dow Jones year after year, it's probably like $4 or $5 grand.
Yeah. I think the good thing about buying guitar is, like you said, you could always get your money back.
Right.
Right. You can't play the money that you have in the bank, but you could enjoy your guitar. So it's not hey, it beats buying it. I'd rather buy a guitar than drugs and alcohol and, shows and all the crap that you'll never get back. Right. You can make music. It's the arts and entertainment. And, you could always sell it for something someday. Right.
So a lot of people, I'm seeing a lot of discussion on here about what the max is. Some people are saying 1,500. Some people are saying 1,200. I
saw $27,000.
Well, that's a nice guitar if you can afford it. Yeah.
So by the way, I got a text while we were talking. I don't know if you saw me.
From Gibson?
Yes. I swear.
No.
From my buddy at Gibson. He remember I told you I had gotten the email, but I was friendly with a guy there.
Right.
And just to keep the names anonymous, I'm saying, I know a guy, right? But he said, yeah, from Gibson. And he mentioned that he was watching the show. He wanted me to say hello to you.
Really? Hello.
And I asked him, I said, could I share anything about, like anything based on the email that everyone already knows had gone out? Because, Philip mentioned it and, I just brought it up tonight, but he said, not yet. Nothing for public consumption yet. But he said he does appreciate everyone's feedback. And he said people on his team, and remember what I said, he's on like the social team, right? A lot of the folks on his team does watch what we do, which is good. It's nice to hear that. So, and I quote, in fact, we look forward to your coverage. I turned a lot of people in the office to us, which was kind of cool.
Nice.
Okay. And then he said, Kramer is still alive.
Really? See?
I'm reading the text right now.
Still alive. Okay. All right. That's good to know. That's good to know. I mean, inquiring minds want to know. I have as you know, an affinity for the product because it reminds me of my youth.
Kramer is alive.
Kramer is alive.
So what questions do you have? We have Gibson watching right now. And by the way, to my buddy, thank you for tuning in and letting me know that you were watching. That's always nice. So.
Someone says, TK, do you still have your Kramer Pacer vintage Tiger?
I do. I actually like that guitar, although it's a little heavy. I think it's all maple, right? No.
It could be.
Pine. It's pine.
Pine?
Pine.
It's maple.
No.
Wait a second. Is it one of the reissues?
One of the reissues.
It's maple.
You sure about that?
I'm like 99% sure it's maple. Solid maple body. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm telling you, they made a honey burst, right? They made a tiger striped honey burst. I could have sworn it was a maple body. My Kramer, my 83 Kramer is a maple body. Heavy.
Okay, you're right. Solid maple body. I apologize. I'm reading it right here. And my buddy just actually commented.
I'm about to drop a mic.
Go. he said you're right. It's why did I come up with pine?
Well, that's what the Squire they did. The original Telecasters were pine, and when they did a Squire the classic Vibe series, they went back with pine again. They did a pine, and I like the pine. There's nothing wrong with pine, but it's a very resinous wood.
That's right. It was the classic Vibe that was pine.
Classic.
Yeah,
vibe.
so I still have my Kramer Pacer Vintage Tiger, which is no longer available. And I have to tell you, I love that guitar.
Yeah.
It's a nice guitar.
I'd get that Honeyburst in a second if one showed up on the used market. I don't know if they still do them new. The other one that was really awesome was the neck through style with the ebony fingerboard. It came with EMG pickups. It had like a special like blower switch on it to do a little bit of like a bit of like an overdrive, a bit of a boost, if I remember correctly. And they made them in black and in white. Of course, you want the black one. But it was very Jackson-esque for a lot less money than a Jackson Soloist. Had the
which model?
I want to say it's the SM1.
You know, it's funny you said that because in one of my live shows, I told people I want an SM1. Yeah, I love the SM1. It's like a Jackson Soloist.
It is. It's like a Jackson Soloist, but it's so it's got a heel. It's got a heel like that, right? All through, nice and rounded. But it's got a binding, and it's got the beak headstock inlays, which if you're from the 80s, I know it might look stupid to you youngins, but trust me.
No, the inlays are the headstock.
That's what I'm saying. The headstock. It's like the old beak headstock is the inlay.
Right. It's a great guitar. The other guitar that I liked, which I think came in real quick, was the Jersey Star.
All right, so Star inlays.
Richie Sambora,
Star inlays with a Floyd Rose. Might have been gold hardware.
Yeah, it was Music Yo days that brought it back. I don't remember the original, but
Yo was just Mets and Mets. Right?
Well, when I was turned on to Richie Sambora, it was actually in maybe I was listening to him in the 80s, but when I first got wind of Sambora's signature series, it was the Fender. But when Music Yo was around, they had the Jersey Star, and I think back then it was probably about $1,000.
Yeah, see the Music Yos. I don't have a ton of experience with them, but they were just sort of okay. I thought the better reissues were when they did these last reissues with Gibson. When Gibson finally picked the brand up.
Yeah.
Like you said, you have the Vintage Tiger and the Honeyburst Tiger, and they came out with the Classic series from Indonesia. And, those guitars were all great. The SM1s, those were all great. The Music Yos, sometimes I feel like it's a little bit of hit or miss.
I own a Music Yo Night Rider, which is a semi-hollow.
Wow.
With Gibson USA pickups and a Floyd.
Wow.
And with a flame top, the reason why I bought a diamond inlays, it's gorgeous. The reason why I bought that was, where else do you see a semi-hollow with a Floyd and Gibson USA pickups? I thought it was awesome.
Right.
And I paid like $350 for that guitar.
I could have got an SM1 in black. This is a very common, if you're looking to buy a guitar used, you should follow this pattern. A guitar comes out and gets released brand new. Okay. It's the first of its kind. When that happens, there's a lot of hype about the guitar, and a lot of people will buy the guitar, right? It's like just sort of a thing that happens. 6 to 8 months later, 12 months later, for whatever reason, the person just doesn't like the guitar. They're moving into another direction. It's just the guitar doesn't do it for them anymore. Yeah. You will see them show up in the used market. There's so many on the used market, it'll drive the price down. It's a small window. Once that's over and the guitars sort of settle where they want to be, the price starts to go up again. So there's a small window where those SM1s, they were doing them like $699, $599. All of a sudden, I saw one for $499. I saw one as low as $399. And I just was going, oh, I should. But it's one of those things where I'm buying a guitar solely for price, right? And I'm like, should I do this? And of course, it's sold instantly, right? You got to be quicker than that. It's the same.
I know.
So while I'm hemming and hawing, another guy had no problem pulling the trigger on it immediately. So I missed out on it, but there always is a window. The gold classic vibes that came out, big run. All of a sudden, they're gone. They were everywhere for a little while. They're $299, they're $249. Now they're back up to $299 and $3.25 because there's fewer of them on the market now.
Which model? Which model is that?
There was a 60th anniversary Squire Classic Vibe in all gold, right? And so I remember when that guitar came out. It came out the first NAMM show I went. Well, a year later, they were all over the used market because people bought them and didn't float their boat anymore. That's gone. That's settled out. Now that they're off the market and the used market is sort of settled down, prices have crept back up again. It really is supply and demand.
You know, I'm looking online right now on eBay. The SM1s are holding their price. There's one for $1,300.
One saying an SM1 had a baseball bat type neck. You didn't care for it. That'd be a problem with me because I like the smaller necks. So again, that's the trouble buying a guitar while playing it. I don't care if the guitar shows up and it's like it's got a high fret, or if it's, you know, completely unintonated, or the setup is terrible. No problem at all. I can fix that in my sleep. But if there's nothing I can do if I don't like the neck. I'm not going to shave the neck down and ruin the guitar. If I don't like the shape of the neck, I'll give you a great example. The Fender HM series, those heavy metal series, very thin front to back, right? Front to back, but very wide side to side. I did not care for the neck. I wanted to like that guitar. They had one for $399 used. It wound up dropping to $299, and I was like, I should buy this guitar. It's so cheap, $299 for this old, you know, Japanese-made Fender, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't pull the trigger on it. I just hated the neck.
Man, now you make me want that SM1.
Do it. Do it.
Oh man,
I'm corrupting you, bro.
Yeah, seriously. You know, the in white, I love that.
Oh, see, I like the black one. See, we're very different people.
Why do you like that? I like a black guitar, but
probably because it reminds me of the Soloist more, right? Just in the shape and in the style. Plus, if I was going to buy an iPhone, I'd get a black iPhone, not a white iPhone, right? I tend to prefer the black over the white, just in general.
You know what's interesting? So at one point, what'd you say?
Said except like a custom SG, then I like the white. Like the
you know what's interesting?
Yeah.
So I'm with you on the darker color guitars, but making videos, I like a lighter color guitar so you could see it.
Okay, that makes sense.
So let's say I had to pick a black or a white SM1. I picked the white because I feel like it would actually be nice for the show.
Some people don't like black guitars just because they're total fingerprint magnets, and a white guitar isn't. Right?
Yeah.
There's Pixie. See, Steve from Boston is very upbeat. Yeah.
When you're not spilling soda on his back.
I'm not spilling soda on my back. I'm actually quite nice. Yeah, I'm usually all down like, what?
That's because we like to talk.
SM1 at Guitar Center with a damaged whammy pocket for $6.99. Well, they can keep it.
Yeah, you don't want to buy any. You know what? You don't need to buy anything that's damaged.
Don't buy. Okay. I'm going to give you a good piece of advice right now. Unless it's like for next to nothing, don't buy a project.
Right. Next to nothing is like $50.
No, I'd give him $199.
Oh, I wouldn't even give him that. Maybe $100 at most.
Right.
Unless you have free time. See, I don't have free time.
Right.
I had a project guitar once. I had a headstock that chipped off, and dude, I spent so much time. I shaved it off. I not only glued it, but I countersunk it with a nail. I wood filled it. I painted it, all to get back it was all free labor. It was like, you know what? It's the last time I fix a guitar.
Dude, you don't even want to know. As you know, I do a little bit of IT work on the side, and I have this nice family who I do their IT work for them in their house, and they have a really large house in Wellesley. And I set up a couple of zones with a Ubiquiti, Unify Ubiquiti mesh Wi-Fi setup. And so I set up an APLR, which is a long range, and I set up a new APAC light up in the garage, and the APAC light was working fine, but that APLR just would not work. And I could not get it to come under the controller software. I could not get it to come in. It kept like isolating itself. So, you know, I said, listen, I got one of the boxes working. You're going to have Wi-Fi in the house. Let me take this with me and I'll check it at home. So I bring it here and I check it because I use Ubiquiti Networks here. I pull it into my controller, my unified controller, and I go to set it up, and I just cannot get it to join the controller set. You know, I can't join the network, and I can't figure out why. And so I just email her about 20 minutes, 30 minutes in. I said, listen, I could spend a lot of time trying to fix this. I just recommend you buy another AC light. And she said, sure, no problem. So we get the AC. I order the second AC light. Now the pressure's off, right? Now I don't have to fix it. It just becomes like an intellectual puzzle for me. Mm-hmm. I am like arguing with an inanimate object. Like, you're not going to beat me. 20 hours later, I had it working a couple of times, but then it just kept going back in isolation mode. I finally gave up, and I was like, well, there's a lesson. Right. I just could not give up on it. I was like, damn it.
Did you ever figure out what the problem was?
Yeah, it was bad hardware. And I should have just came up from the start. But I was like doing like incremental URL updates. You can like, if you bash into it, you can get ways to like, oh God, I was trying everything. Didn't work. I mean, it worked. I was able to upgrade the firmware, and I was like, I am defeating you, bitch. And then no. In the end, it was laughing at me. Thoughts, check out, oh, thanks, buddy. Thoughts, check out the Squier Contemporary series, the Vox MVX with the new amp, with the new tubes. The Vox, I did not get a chance to see. They're probably at is that Korg? Is Korg and Vox the same?
Yeah, company? Yeah. Korg distributes Vox in the US.
Okay. The Squier series, I'm embarrassed to say, I never made it to the 3rd floor this year.
You know, I went there. Okay. I didn't even bother going in the Fender area. Okay. I went into Charvel Jackson, and there were so many people. I walked in, around, and out. You couldn't even play a guitar.
Let me ask you this. Did you go on Saturday?
I want to say I went there Friday.
Because I'm starting to figure out that Saturday is almost a wasted day. There's so many.
You can't do anything on a Saturday.
Anything on a Saturday. That really was hammered home to me this year. That Saturday is sort of a lost day.
You know what I'm surprised is that given how much floor traffic Charvel Jackson get, it's really, really hard to play their guitars. So being that my buddy from Gibson is watching, I'm going to give them a very well-deserved plug, because there was a lot of misunderstanding in the past. In the past NAMMs, that when they were there, everyone beat them up by saying, oh, they had, guitars on tables. Their whole point to that, and I know that because this guy told me, was they wanted people to sit in the chair, pick up the guitar, and play it.
Yeah, well, that's how it was last year. If I remember correctly, they had long booths. Long tables, but seating areas.
So here's the problem. Right. And everybody, you could walk in there, sit down, and play one of their guitars.
Right.
I want to play a Charvel and a Jackson. I go in. There's nowhere to sit. You have to hunch over. Right. There's no straps. So there's bags all over the place. Everyone's hunched over. Like, it's almost like they don't want you to play the guitars.
Right.
And there's so many people. Listen, if there's a table and a chair, when you sit there, that becomes your space.
Right.
It's impossible to play anything over there.
Right.
At the Charvel Jackson area, which is, I love the brand, and it sucks because I couldn't try anything.
That's why I think next year I might stay for all 4 days and treat Saturday as just a loss, just a complete loss.
Right.
And really get a lot of my footage on Sunday when it's like half as many people in the building. It starts out at like 60% on, or 70% on Thursday, like 80 or 90% on Friday. You're up to a full 100% on Saturday. And then it really goes back down to like 50% on Sunday, from what I hear. It's a lot quieter on Sunday.
It is. I actually get some video on Sunday, not a lot. By the way, all my video isn't released yet. Normally I'll like release 40 videos by the time I leave, but you know what? There's no rush.
Right.
I'll get a few more out this week, and
Yeah, I didn't really do a ton of video this year. I brought my nice camera. Do
you feel like it was a waste?
I kind of felt like it was a waste. Believe it or not, I did. Remember, I was doing bumpers. I was having people say, like, "This is Steve from Boston."
Yeah. How'd they come out?
The best one that came out, I did on my cell phone, because my cell phone has noise canceling, and it isolated Pete Thorne's voice better than when he actually used the mic.
All the other ones weren't so good.
They're fine, but the background noise is noticeably higher in the versus when I used my phone. Whatever voodoo it does, it can figure out and reduce that. I don't know how it does it, but it does it.
Right.
And it was amazing. So again, the things you learn as you keep doing this, for the best, because I don't have the big isolating mics. I was using one of these mics.
Right. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it's 9:17. I'm running about 17 minutes over, and this is probably no. It's my wife. My wife saying, "We finishing up or what?" So I got to call it a night. I appreciate everybody hanging out. I really do. I appreciate everybody who contributed. That's super awesome. I will be back soon with another live show, and I'll run my normal setup instead of a Google Hangout. And we can check out some of these new guitars. I want to say thank you to the Tone King for hanging out with me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invite, and I always love talking to you. So this is easy stuff, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're two peas in a pod when it comes to this stuff. So I think I will bid you adieu for the evening, and I will see you shortly with another live show or another video. And again, thanks so much for hanging out. And as always, rock on. I'm stalling to get the correct mouse.
Nice.
Move my mouse over. But thanks, guys. I really appreciate you hanging out. And until next time,
rock on.
Rock on.